this is Watchhead. Today I brought in a watch that's been quite hot over the past few months, Seiko's SBTH007. This is a model I promised to review when I covered the SUR307, so I wanted to keep that promise and bring it in for today's video. I mentioned this watch is hot, and I'm not sure what it's like in Korea right now, but early on it was not easy to get. Even now, it still feels like demand is higher than supply. I was interested in this model even before release, so I wanted to bring it to the channel right away. But since my channel isn't profitable, I tried to get it a bit cheaper and waited for Black Friday, but it was sold out. Most retailers were out of stock at the time, and anywhere that still had inventory had raised prices dramatically, so I ended up waiting until supply loosened up again. That's why I'm only bringing it now. Early on, in Canada, you could buy it in the low $200 range for the watch price alone. Now, the units you can get immediately seem to be priced a bit higher than that. In the end, this watch reminded me of that lesson again. If you see it, you should buy it. The SBTH007 is part of Seiko's selection line, and it is originally a Japan domestic model. In the West, people call these Japan domestic models or simply JDM. Since JDM watches are designed for the Japanese market, they often come in smaller sizes compared to what we typically see in Western releases. This watch is also quite compact, 37.4mm for the case, 8.4mm in thickness, and only 42.9mm lug to lug. It clearly has a classic size, smaller than the modern standard we see today. My wrist is 17.5 centimeters, and on wrist it sits very close, almost like a bracelet, which is quite impressive. With its thin profile, it also slips easily under tighter sleeves, which makes it feel suitable as a dress watch. For those who prefer smaller watches, the measurements alone are likely already appealing. The dial uses a champagne color with a sunburst pattern. Compared to a white or silver dial, I think champagne feels warmer and more refined. It's a color that works especially well for expressing a clean, understated sense of luxury. When the SBTH007 was hard to find, I did consider getting a different dial color, but in the end, I found myself waiting for the champagne dial. That's how appealing it is. The hands are the familiar sharp dolphin style, and the hour markers are indices. From a distance, the lines look bold, but up close, you can see finer detail. So you get a hint of that Grand Seiko-like feel. Among similarly priced watches with that GS taste, I think the indices here are done especially well. And because of that, the light play between the sunburst dial and the textured indices is very attractive. At 3 o'clock, there's a day-date window. Personally, with a restrained design like this, I prefer either no date-day window at all, or just a date window. The SBTH007 includes both. At first I felt the day-date window was relatively large compared to the case and dial size. But as I've gotten used to the watch, it has become surprisingly fine. It feels like watches also need a bit of an adjustment period. And since this is a JDM model, the day can be set in Chinese character as well. As someone living abroad, I've noticed that Western friends who aren't into watches often find that detail interesting. So for me, that's one of the small advantages of a Japan domestic model. For the bracelet, Seiko doesn't really put much effort into this part at this price point. It's something Seiko fans around the world more or less accept. You get hollow end links, a pressed clasp, and links with fairly generous gaps. Comfort isn't bad, and since the lug width is 20mm, if you're considering strap changes, I don't think it's a poor deal for the price. The movement is the 6N53 quartz. There's nothing particularly special here. Accuracy is rated at ± 15 seconds per month, and the seconds hand alignment is not especially precise. That was a look at the SBTH007. Overall, it feels well made. The champagne dial is not something you see every day, and the Grand Seiko taste is fairly strong, so it has many elements that a lot of people can appreciate. In this price range, there are countless options around 40mm, but once you drop down to around 37mm, or even smaller like this, choices decrease sharply, and that's the reality. Since not everyone in the West has large wrists, when a comfortably sized watch like this becomes popular, demand tends to surge globally. Add to that the sapphire crystal 100 meters water resistance, lightweight and strong practicality, and even if the price has risen a bit, it's still relatively accessible, so it's hard not to see why this watch continues to be popular. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. This was Watchhead.